But Brian has created hundreds and hundreds of ads.
There's a phrase in advertising, you have to kill your darlings. Every one of them is your darling, and every one of them is going to kick ass and sell jam, and 99% of them are going to fail tremendously.
Welcome to the Incremental Marketer, a content series where we meet with top marketing executives and leaders across industries to help you drive growth in your business. Welcome to the Incremental Marketer. Today's guests are Michelle and Brian Platt, the founders of JamPack'd Jams. JamPack'd is a breakout health food brand, redefining what jam can be. Brian brings deep creative chops from agency roots in New York City to leadership roles at Gray, Strawberry Frog, Mono, Solve, and more, now channeling his storytelling muscle into their food business. Michelle is an educator, attorney, content strategist, wellness writer, and certified personal trainer, uniquely equipped to lead JamPack'd's nutrition, operations, and brand vision. JamPack'd isn't just jam with less sugar. It's built with purpose as more protein than peanut butter, more fiber than broccoli, more prebiotics and collagen per serving than your leading supplement, and all while staying clean and craveable. And in this conversation, we'll explore how the idea was born, how they tested it, how they're thinking about marketing channels, and how they plan to take JamPack'd from a fast-growing disruptor to a household name. Michelle and Brian, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Paul. Great to be here.
Yeah, excited to do this.
All right, we're excited to have you. Tell us about JamPack'd. I have strawberry and raspberry and blueberry, and I have to say my family loves it. We are the early adopters, huge supporters, and we think it's a great product. Tell us what's interesting and what's unique about it.
I think this brand, like I mentioned earlier, almost needs like a re-education, right? Because, I've gone into retailers and it's like, it's not a supplement and it's not your traditional jam. So this is something new. It's not your $4 jam filled with sugar. And it's also not something that's like medicinal. So this is something that does have health properties, but also tastes good. So it's sometimes even that I've gone into retailers and they're like, I have jam. And it's like, but this is different. Let me show you what it is. And then they see our packaging. And that was really important to us. Besides the name, early on, we found I think a packaging person who really nailed the look we were going for. And that changed everything.
We kind of came out of the gates thinking doing like a whey protein jam would be really interesting. We both like to work out. Hey, we'll do our whey protein version of jam. And then we did focus groups and we realized pretty quickly that wasn't as exciting to people as we thought it might be, but it wasn't game over. They said, I would be more interested in collagen. Whey is in everything. It's in cookies, it's in shakes, it's in Pop-Tarts, you name it. So that was exciting because collagen was something that our food scientists were suggesting anyway. And they said, but don't stop with protein. If you guys could have prebiotic fiber, if you could have vitamins and minerals, they named a whole host of nutrients. And we worked with our food scientists and kind of created this, as I said, everything but in the kitchen sink jam. And then when we landed on JamPack'd, the name, it was like, oh, wow, this has all come together so nicely.
What was the origin of the name? Where did you come up with JamPack'd?
So the first name, which we were actually telling people, was Jams With, and then we had Jams With Protein. And we envisioned all these different, things that could be jammed with. And when we said Jams With Protein, we were envisioning this whey product, or pea protein. And then really once we started doing these focus groups, we were thinking, you know what, there's so much more we want to do with this jam. We were listening to what people were eating and consuming. And again, with collagen, the answer generally was I already take collagen. I already put it in my coffee. I already have supplements. More collagen, the better. And so we just started changing, instead of it just being this protein product, it became this full, fledged JamPack'd jam. We went back and forth between those two names, but obviously JamPack'd is way better. I think we were saying JamPack'd a lot. And then we were like, why don't we just call it JamPack'd?
Yeah. No, that's exactly what happened. We did start with, in hindsight, it was the dumbest name, Jammed With. I literally was talking to the trademark attorney. He's like, the name of your product is Jammed With? I'm like, well, yeah.
They refused to give you a trademark for it just out of principle.
You can't trademark with, really. So then it's this weird thing.
Yeah, Jammed With was kind of the original name that we got so excited about. And we could kind of tell when we were running it by family and friends, they were like, huh. So maybe we could do better. And we were kind of saying, well, it's jam packed with this, jam packed with that. It was like, wow, that's the name, jam packed. And then because we're so cool, we dropped the E and just called it jam packed without the E. I did go to the trademark attorney and I said, okay, so we got our name. It's no longer jammed with. He's like, oh, thank God. And I said, okay, so jam packed is the name we want. He's like, okay, you're not going to get jam packed. That just sounds, there's going to be 1 million people who have applied for that. Someone has to have it. And then he called me later in the day and he's like, you're not going to believe this. It's available. Take it now. Take it now. And we did.
And once you like realize the name, it's funny how often people use jam packed like in the day.
Yeah.
Like, we'd be like, you hear they said jam packed?
Oh, no.
You know,
hear
like,
it
how's
all.
your day? Jam packed? It's
Right.
like all the time. And
A
so
constant brand. You're going to become that household name. Yeah. And that'll usurp the usage. It'll be like the Kleenex of the category.
oh, right. I'm sure.
Yeah, no, it's a great name. This art of the start is really, I think, interesting for a lot of startup founders, companies that we work with they're working on an idea and they're trying to get it out to market, but you have to start with the basics and the inspiration or the idea. How did you get this started?
Well, I guess I'll just start by saying you're not going to hear the classic clean Shark Tank tale of problem solution. I don't think I've ever heard a founder be totally truthful on the spark. It's always this picture perfect story. They were on a picnic and the wind was blowing and our blanket kept going up with the wind. What are we going to do? And that's the day we created fill in the blank. Well, it didn't work quite as cleanly for us.
So I had a website that pretty much for 10 years, pretty much focused on health and wellness products. I did a lot of like product reviews, and different things like that. So many protein products, like healthy snacks. And focusing a lot on like also my demographic was men and women, but I generally was writing towards women, perimenopause women, menopause women, moms with kids, and just easy ways to like find protein. My protein bar posts, different things like that were really getting a lot of traffic for those. And I enjoyed writing about them because I was writing about what I did, what I ate. And basically I would recommend to friends. So I was invited on an online seller cruise, actually, like speaking to a bunch of Amazon sellers. I left that cruise basically, just kind of ears open and just absorbing what people were doing, how they were doing things. I've always been very entrepreneurial, and I think Brian has too. And Brian has a side magic business too.
Tell
And
us.
My father and I have an LLC, PlattMagic.com.
so we both kind of dabbled with like, entrepreneurial type things when I was speaking to all these sellers, and they were saying like, you should have a product. Why don't you have a product? You have mailing lists, I have subscribers and all that. And I said, well, if I had a product, I definitely would want to be like something health and wellness related. That sounded so like, how do you do that, without being a scientist yourself or, anything. So I came back from that conference just saying to Brian, like, I think I want to do a product, but I wasn't sure what it would be.
I think from there it was examining our cupboards. It's like we try to eat healthy. We looked around, what are we eating? What are we eating begrudgingly? And it was jam. It really did. It kind of just jumped out at us. It's like, wow, we always have, I won't name brands because even the good ones are not good. Jam by law is generally 60% or more sugar. So even if we had a quote unquote good jam in the refrigerator, we didn't feel great about eating it. For me, partly it was the taste. I think jams are way too sweet. That's going to happen when they're made of 60% or more sugar. And then, yeah, I mean, we're just feeding our kids basically sugar gel. So we thought it could be better.
I was going to say the other thing, I feel like mornings are hard, right? Like you speak to a lot of women, they're doing like a protein smoothie or they're not eating breakfast or they're, it's just yogurt. But I just feel like breakfast is hard to kind of come up with something that you feel is a healthy way of starting your day. And so, again, the jam, people were adding like peanut butter or just avoiding carbs totally. And so we were thinking like, what if you could take a carb And I personally buy a lot of these like low net carb breads, different bagels and breads that also have protein in them. So what if you could take something like that, or even just a regular piece of toast, and all of a sudden, instead of just being this carb sugar laden breakfast, it actually is healthy and it's something that you would want to eat, but you just don't, and I think a lot of women don't eat, you give jam to your kids with PB&J, but I have heard, and I know it's almost like we're reintroducing, especially I keep saying women, but a lot of people, like reintroducing people to the idea that you can like have jam and you don't feel like it's just these empty calories, which is what I thought it was. I just thought it was like sugar, nothing good. It's just kind of a treat. It's sweet. You're adding this extra thing you don't need. So what if we can actually do that? And it was something that actually, made your breakfast healthier.
And what's the feedback been so far?
Every time we get a review, we're like, this is amazing. Like that the feedback's been great. We share that now on our, on our homepage, and these are real verified users. And, we have people who are diabetics. We have people who are looking for healthy alternatives to their kids. We have people sharing like really creative ways that they're using it, not just like oatmeal, which, we hear people putting in their oatmeal and their yogurts, but just almost people like, I have permission to eat jam again. So definitely like the feedback has been great. And, you always think even with friends, are they just saying it to be nice? But people are reordering it. They're sharing with other people. People are buying it as gifts now. We're like, now that we're getting close, to holiday season, people are saying like, I'm giving it to my team at work. I'm bringing it as a hostess gift. I sent it for my son's birthday, so it's kind of amazing that we have this product that like people are telling us that they're gifting.
Yeah, it started with friends and family. And like anything, it's like your family telling you your son looks handsome. It's like, okay, well, that means nothing. So unless they were giving you a big bear hug and telling you it's the greatest thing ever, I just didn't really believe any friends or family telling me anything. So as Michelle was saying, it's just so gratifying to see total strangers, with nothing to gain, giving us great reviews. And again, the reorder says it all. If somebody does it, which we're now kind of in the cycle of getting, would have used up the 3-pack, and really, really exciting to see that.
We did our first run not that many months ago, and really within 30 days, we sold out of everything. So first, which one went first? Was this?
The strawberry went first, which I guess you could argue is a good problem to have, but it was a problem because it was like there was we manufactured this in Utah and there was a state holiday there. So it was like a 5-day plus the 4-day holiday plus the weekend. And we sold out of the strawberry, I think the first day of the holiday. So by the time our co-packer was back, they're like, there's like 300 orders of strawberry, Brian and Michelle, that we can't fulfill. So that was a major headache, but I guess, again, a good problem to have. The most gratifying thing was our co-packer kind of looking at us like, oh, isn't this cute? This couple's coming in. And they kind of treated us like almost like interns. And it's kind of nice now to know we are selling more jam than they are. So they have their house brand. They admitted that to us proudly. So a proud day for us.
Yeah. And we did have to learn fast, right? When we sold out, because then we had customer service. We have all these people. We had to let them know, sorry, we have to cancel your order. What can we give you in place? And we were so happy when we were back. And now we've done like a big run.
And what channels are you on? Facebook, Instagram, and you're selling on Shopify. Is that the core strategy?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I mean, we've had Amazon court us from like day one. It was pretty surreal to look down at my phone and Amazon was calling, but we're not quite ready for Amazon. We're just having such, I'll say, good luck doing D2C from our Shopify. So that's our only channel right now, in addition to a few small retailers.
And how about that small retailer piece? Is it important to have that feet on the ground? Are you pursuing that, or do you think you can build this D2C digital only?
Yeah, Michelle and I may have slightly different opinions here. I'll start. I love the control of D2C as a 30-year ad guy. I just love that we can just control our campaign. It's all up to us what we put out there, and we can kind of stick and move. So I haven't personally felt the need to try to get the sexy national distribution quite yet.
Yeah, and I'm feeling like the focus right now is like very much like local for us because I think it's just a nice story. Like working, I'm in the midst of kind of trying to connect with like local retailers
Yeah.
and even retailer chains. But I just think personally, and I don't know about you, but when I go into a store and I look at a product, and if I were to see our product on the shelves, first thing everyone does is like Google it. I think just being on shelves where you're getting the targeted buyer who would be interested, I think that creates buzz in itself. Just picking up a jar, Googling it. Oh, where do they sell it? They also have it on D2C, asking people, have you tried this? So I think it's important to be in the right places.
Yeah. Have you seen how you're doing in the LLMs? Are you getting recommended by ChatGPT and Claude?
It is interesting. Like that's like the old joke is, do you Google yourself? We have Googled ourselves. We have Chat GPT and Grokked ourselves. It's pretty funny. Yeah, it gives a pretty glowing review. I'm like, all right.
But
Chat GPT's our friend.
But I strongly believe in that. Like my website was very successful early on, and it's because people started putting in Reddit and Quora and asking about it, and it was this organic growth. And then it was picked up by publications like New York
Right.
Times, different things. So I feel like there's definitely, I want people chatting in these, I want people asking, have you tried this? I think that really does help build like an organic brand awareness.
That's great. And talk about the creative strategy behind the brand. So what I know from seeing your content and seeing your ads in Meta, you have a very robust creative portfolio. Brian, I know this comes from your background largely. Talk about how does that work? What are you developing? What are you testing?
Yeah. Well, we could be here all day if I was to tell you every ad I've thrown against the wall to see what sticks. But tried every strategy. That's the answer, Paul. We didn't really curate strategies. It was like, how will this go over in the GLP-1 community? How about perimenopausal women, mothers and fathers of young kids who eat PB&Js, gut health folks, those who are looking for a post-workout protein boost? So we tried everything under the sun. And that's kind of, my advice to newbies starting on Meta. Don't think you know the answer. So yeah, we tried everything in Meta. With all my problems with Meta, it is amazing how quickly it knew which ones were right for the audience.
And
Yeah.
what are you optimizing to? Are you optimizing to purchase? Are you optimizing to add to cart?
Well, I have Slingwave to thank for that. I thought I knew. Here's the problem with AI. AI led us to doing an add to cart. It was like, oh, you're going to want to start with add to cart. You'll see the numbers grow faster. So I stupidly did add to cart. Well, Slingwave was like, well, first thing, Brian, you don't want to add to cart. You want to select purchase. And here's why. There are people who that's what they do. It's like they window shop online and they only add to cart. Meta's going to optimize now for those people. It seems so obvious in retrospect to go for purchase conversions. Everything changed overnight. So that was kind of the first big move on Meta.
I love it. Yeah, I was so glad it works. And now you're scaling for you to get to that next phase. What's next? New SKUs? Is it more aggressive marketing?
What we've recently done, because again, I felt safe. I felt comfortable spreading ourselves a little thin, having 4 or 5 ad sets running at once. What I realized we were doing was competing against ourselves, right? In the auction. So you're kind of, you're arm wrestling yourself to buy that spot on Meta. What we ended up doing was reducing it to really just 2 ads, 2 ad sets, 1 ad each. And I won't get into the specific numbers, but splitting our budget 50-50 between those 2 ads. And that has brought our acquisition costs down by probably like 25%.
But Brian has created hundreds and hundreds of ads. So that's another thing, right? It's like all these little sets, but hundreds of ads because again, you don't know which one.
No, and you think every one of them, there's a phrase in advertising, you have to kill your darlings. Every one of them is your darling, and every one of them is going to kick ass and sell jam, and 99% of them are going to fail tremendously.
I know we've worked on the targeting strategy as well. Broad audience versus smaller niche communities. I mean, Michelle, you spoke to all the different groups, perimenopausal women. How are those audiences being discovered, or are you using more of a broad strategy?
Yeah, great question. Again, my instincts were 100% wrong. I'm looking for the most, dialed in keywords. Oh, let's grab this age range. And it's really that approach always backfired. I hate to give Zuckerberg and Meta so much credit, but I have to. It's like the advice to just start broad and let their algorithm do the work for you, I think is the best advice, because it always you'll have to wait 72 hours. You'll burn a little money in it finding the audience, but it will find it, and it will find it better than you will narrowing it down.
As a creative mind and professional, do you use AI in your creative process?
Yes, it's like the elephant in the room when I do freelance at agencies. I'm not even shy about it anymore. Yes, as someone who's, you know, taken pride in the prose he writes for 30 years, I turned to ChatGPT to get ideas, to proofread my writing, and it almost invariably makes it better. I think any creatives who say, "Oh, I don't turn to AI, I don't get it. It's a tool. It can't write for you. It can't design. It can't art direct, but it certainly can help as a tool."
You're in an entirely new industry, right? There's a lot to learn. So it has been helpful in that way, just even understanding the systems in place, right? Like from
Right.
retail dealing with co-packers, just like things we wouldn't even know. Yeah, we're not relying on it, but it really has been like helpful just giving us an education rather than a mentor sometimes sitting with us. I mean, it really is an entirely new world for us.
You'll do your business planning or questions in collaboration with it before you go out to your mentor. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it's even
Or to the
sometimes a
market?
piece of a mentor, right? Like who do we ask? How do you is this standard for co-packers? How do co-packers operate? How do you get into retail? Like just so many things just giving us it's like having a playbook of someone just guiding you. Well, these are paths and this is even terminology. Like we didn't even know the words to like ask. And now we know,
And obviously, it goes without saying, you take it with a grain of salt. I mean, AI can hallucinate probably 1 out of 4 times. So, and it does it with such gusto, with such confidence that if you just ran with it every time, it would hurt you. So, no, we're kind of doing our fact checking of the fact checking that we get from AI.
I now much more understand how you two work together and how you two are the Swiss Army knife co-founders. As I think about your backgrounds, you have, the knowledge of nutrition, this space, wellness. You have an attorney, you have a creative, you have a little bit of everything all in one. You've
I
been
know
on
what
Shopify, you've both started businesses. So I get it. And that's a powerful place to be as co-founders. What are some lessons for other founders? I think is having a co-founder important? And what skills have you learned in this process of doing this?
Yeah,
a lot.
a lot. Yeah, I think we knew just enough to be dangerous to ourselves. So, yeah, obviously you don't know what you don't know. So, arrogance has no place in the beginning. It's easy.
Hmm.
What do they call it? The Dunning-Kruger effect? It's easy after a month or two to be like, "We got this." No, you don't. You don't have anything. For me, it's that nobody's going to care as much as you care. I sort of proudly define myself as a masochist. I take some pleasure in the pain of beating your head against the wall to find the answer, to move something through the system. Nobody cares as much as you do. They'll give you 20% of the effort. Had I known that earlier, I probably would have slept a little better knowing that's just the way of the world.
And I think it's constantly evolving, right? And that's okay. Like even our product itself, and you notice that other brands too, they'll change based on like feedback and different things. But I think it was really important that we did these. They weren't focus groups, so they were individual interviews with people. We used a service for that. I think it's really helpful to get opinions other than your friends and family. I think that's just a a starting off point. Like we only know what we know, but these complete strangers sharing, would they buy a product like this? And what would they look for, and price points was really helpful for us. There was a lot of R&D for a while,
Yeah.
back and forth with the co-packer. And
Just adding to that. No, I mean, I think it's easy to insert your own personal biases. So you have to look to others who don't have any real innate interest in your product to know what you're dealing with.
we watch a lot of Shark Tank. I mean, I feel like even Mr. Wonderful is always asking, is this a product people even would want, right? Like people talk about their products, their baby, they love it, but is there actually like a want and need for it? And so I think we saw early on after doing the research, you know what? I think people actually might want this. I think
And you know that because how?
just based on, again, that initial feedback, with these focus interviews, even a friend of mine did, an old lifelong friend she was going to host a tasting party, and she called me and was like, I have a problem because I ordered a 3-pack and my 18-year-old son ate all of them in a matter of a week with a spoon. And we were getting things like that. We were giving people like friends the jars, and they're like, how do I reorder? I think there is like so much just dealing with suppliers, dealing with this. It's not something you could just jump in. You really have to, I mean, you can jump in, but there's a lot to learn, so it's very time intensive. It's, we did have money to put up at front, but it's a lot of back and forth, to get this product made.
And now that you have the foundation, and it sounds like you have product market fit, the signs of there's a pull, you're not having to force anyone to buy this. There's a real demand. What do you do next? How do you use, and especially, as this is a marketing podcast, what are the marketing levers that you can pull to move the product and grow the business the way you look for in your next move?
Again, coming from this world, I felt like influencer marketing was going to be really helpful. And then we realized it wasn't exactly what we needed. We'd rather have this organic, people sharing organically what they like. I mean, we still did have some of those early on, but I don't think influencer marketing is probably where we're headed right now. I think it's like going back into Meta. I think it's getting this product visible for me on shelf so people just start noticing. We're going to Expo West this year. So just kind of exposure. I'm doing a lot of like connecting to people just in the community. Who knows somebody? Like, who can I meet? It's fun to talk about the product, but we're also trying to like, really, really introduce it to people who would be interested in, learning more about it.
I just say it's the ultimate A/B test. Throw, or really A/B through Z test. Kind of like I was saying with Meta, throw a zillion strategies out there and see what sticks. I would never be so presumptuous to think, oh, I know the next angle we must take. So we're trying a bunch of things and trying to learn quickly because most of them aren't going to work as well as you think. I will quickly drop this. We are about to work with a celebrity. Can't drop the name yet because it's not dried in ink. And that's not something that would have ever been on our playlist, but here we are trying it out. We'll see.
Are you cultivating Amazon as a next step? How do influencer partnerships impact you? Do you see immediate sales? Is it more of a longer term return? Is it a bit of both?
So yeah, as we mentioned, we've been courted by Amazon. It's tempting. It would definitely open up our pool of potential customers, get us in front of a lot of new eyeballs. One reason we're holding off is we just don't want to cannibalize or kind of ruin the magic of what we've got. A lot of people use Amazon as proof. Somehow, if it's on Amazon, it's a legit product. So in that sense, it would be nice to be there. So we're on the cusp. I would think in the next 3 or 4 months, we'll go to Amazon and increase the pool of potential buyers.
And maybe a limited availability of some of our products. We like having control. So it's like once you're giving it to Amazon, they're shipping it out. People are reviewing, and some of it is, are they reviewing our product or the way it was delivered? So you are like handing a lot over. So definitely concerns, but I also feel like it probably would, again, increase our exposure.
Michelle and Brian, thanks so much for joining us today on the Incremental Marketer. What's the best way to get in touch with you?
We have an email, hello@JamPack'dJams.com.
And most importantly, where would you go to buy the delicious jam-packed 3-pack as a holiday gift or an individual jar?
Straight to JamPack'd Jams, plural.com. And once again, no E in packed.
Thank you so much for joining us today. And for our listeners out there, thanks for joining us on today's episode of The Incremental Marketer. Stay tuned for more voices, more lessons, and more proof that incremental moves can drive big growth. If you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and join us for more episodes with the leaders shaping the future of marketing.